So on Monday, I think we were at here in page 2. Okay, so the next step is I will consider this part. This is the open loop dynamics. Okay, and we open loop dynamics. Okay, and here this term is remember that the argument is replace Q by QD because it's coming from the YD theta term. Okay, the YD theta term. So we add and subtract YD theta terms. So this is from the minus YD theta term. As long as this, as well as this, and this. Okay, so these four terms are coming from minus YD theta. Okay. So next, let's continue from I do some massages on these terms. Okay, so let's first take care of this part. Okay, these two terms, and next these two terms. Okay. So first, let's check out the first term. So in the first term, okay, it's equal to, so the intention here is to replace the E dot and P dot by these signals. Okay, by these signals. This is E dot. Okay, this term is this term. This term, the minus K E dot, this is E dot. Okay, and this is P dot. We replace whatever dot terms because the E dot term is not measurable. Okay, so we need to replace E dot by that signals. And eventually you can find that this can be reorganized as this. Okay, no upper bound, you just substitute the parameter, the filters E dot, P dot, and you got these signals. Okay. So it equals to this is E dot. Okay. This is P dot. It's derived. It's based on the P filters. Okay. This from the definition of P filter. P dot equal to this. Okay. And next, you can cancel out some terms. Okay. For example, so you can, this term and this term will be cancelled out. this term and ME and this term, okay? The ME term will be cancelled out. And second, this term, MEF, KP, and P is equal to EF plus KE. Okay. So let me write down this term down here. Okay. And it becomes just K. Okay. Second term, MEF will cancel out the another MEF here. Okay. And third, KEF this MK square E will cancel out the MK square E. Okay. Okay. So NE minus EF MKR MKE EF KE minus MKE plus MKE, okay, KEF, okay, okay, that becomes REF minus EF MKR MEF, okay, and this term cancel out this term, okay. So then you got KR, okay. KR and this term minus MQ KF. Okay. And that's the last equation of equation 3, right? 哪里？这个2跟这个2啊。这个2没有 K 啊，这里有 K 对不对？MEKF MEF OK， 那就消错了，那应该是这个 2跟这一个，对不对？OK， 好，不错，表示不考试你们会听这样，也说不定忽然间改变心意变成要考试。Okay, so that's it. So this is the first term. Okay, we substitute the designed filter and cancel out the terms, and that will boil down the whole Lie equation down to this simple form, which has only 4 terms. So next is number 2. This equation equals to Vm q, we can, so this q is equal to q dot minus r plus e plus ef, based on the definition of the separate this and this, segregate this, so we can write down this is using a switching property. Which is Vm AB times C equal to Vm A C B. You can swap these two variables. Okay, they will be equal. So I can swap these two, this and this. Okay, and segregate. Once this term is outside the bracket, I can segregate this term and these terms. Okay, so that's equal to Vm QD dot plus QD dot minus Vm QD dot. Okay, and all these terms minus r plus e plus ef. Okay, it's the same as these terms. Okay. Thank you. 这样对吧？ Okay. So the reason to segregate using the switching property and segregate this term into these two terms is we can combine this term and this term, because it's QD here, but here is Q. Okay. 这样有问题? So once you put the two terms together, okay. Once you put the two terms together, the difference is Q, QD here. You can upper bound this. You can upper bound this by the property So if I call this is D, okay, and D norm can be upper bounded by C1 Z norm, okay, and Z is defined as E, F, R, okay. transpose. Okay. So that's the reason we put the two terms together. We do all this work to put these two terms together. Okay. And this term can be the norm of this term can be upper bounded by C2Z again. Okay, because you can swap this and this. Okay. No, you don't need to do swap. So the reason for this to be true is because by using the property, the bound, we mentioned this before, which is the norm of Vm Q dot. The norm of this can be upper bounded by a constant times Q dot. Okay. And for this, okay, which means that for Vm Q D dot, okay, Q D dot, that can be upper bounded by some Cm and Q D dot, right? And which is a constant, which this is a non-desired velocity, right? And it's another constant. So, which means it can be upper bounded by C2, another constant. Okay, so the norm of this can be upper bounded by C2 by a constant, and this can be upper bounded by the Z norm. So the product of these two can be upper bounded by C2 times the Z norm. Okay, and that's in the note. Okay, on the bottom of the second page. And this term, okay,会不会太复杂？写在黑板好像还是蛮复杂。Okay. And this term can be upper bounded by, as I show in page 4, the top of page 4. Okay, the norm of this can be upper bounded by C3 Z norm plus C4 Z norm squared. Okay. And that's because by using the three-string properties and the bound of Vn, you can obtain this upper bound. Okay, so for detail, you can check out the notes. Then, after all this had been done, we can do a stability analysis. Okay, and until you do the stability analysis, you will understand, or you will be clear to see why we do all this process to upper bound the terms by Z norms or by Z norm squared. Okay. So eventually, after all that have been done, the R T transpose MR will be, this is the closed-loop dynamics, right? And this can be further upper bounded by C5. That's the value of R times norm Z plus C6, another constant, and Z norm square. Okay. Okay. Then we do the stability analysis. E transpose E plus 1 over 2EF transpose EF. And you take the time derivative, substitute the closed-loop dynamics. Okay, you take the time derivative and substitute the in here you can substitute the closed-loop dynamics, which is at transpose MR dot, okay, on the board. And this M dot is coming from the time derivative of these terms. Okay, these are transpose MR term. So E dot is, by definition, E dot is equal to this, which is coming from the definition of R. Okay, and this is coming from definition of E dot or P filter. Okay. And this term can be cancelled out by the VMR term. VMR term. Okay, this term can be cancelled out by the skew symmetric property. So this term, this term is coming from the closed-loop dynamics here. Okay. And some other terms. Okay. So by design the controller tau here, okay, here you see that minus KEF and E. There are three terms. The first term is for feedback. Second term is for the cross terms. The third term is coming from the adaptive control, okay, to cancel out the trying to approximate the unknown parameters and unknown dynamics in the system, okay. And K is designed as this constant, okay. And theta dot is this, okay, by design. And remember that R, what is R? R is yeah, R is, by definition, is this, right? And remember that for E dot is not measurable. E dot is the difference between Q dot and QD dot. So Q dot is not measurable. So R is unknown. And if R is unknown, how you can implement this? This is because R is unknown. So you will see that head dot is unknown. Okay. So basically it's hard to estimate theta hat by its dynamics because dynamics is unknown. But you can do that, you still can do that. And the approach is called integration by part, 分布积分. Okay. So for example, let's define another signal tau. Okay, tau is the variable for the integration of theta hat dot, and it is from 0 to t. You do the integration by from 0 to t. Okay, and you use the integration by part. Okay, you segregate one term into two terms using this similar to this integration by part. Then you can find that even if you don't know E dot in R, you still can do the integration. Okay. Okay. So theta hat is known. Theta hat can be done. So all these signals in the control input is known. Okay. And you substitute that control into here, and you can further upper bound the V dot by these terms. Okay. So if you look at the first three terms, it's negative definite, right? But now you have two more terms to deal with. So how you can do that is by the you can do this by upper bound this by Young's inequality. This can be upper bound by C5 times square plus Z naught square, okay, divided by 2. Okay, so this upper bound by this, we call it Young's inequality. Okay. So from here, if you don't use Young's inequality, you can't do anything with it, right? You cannot do anything about these terms. You don't know how to suppress this term or remove this term from V dot. But after you use Young's inequality, now it becomes R squared terms, Z squared terms, right? So substitute this back to this V dot. Okay, and again, that term can be upper bounded by right? So it combine, you have R squared term, you have R squared term here. Here's minus, here's plus. You can combine the two. Okay, you can combine the two, which is Cm minus C2 over 2 R squared. Okay, so as long as K times Cm is greater than the half of C2, that still be a negative, it still be negative, right? Okay, so we say if this is greater than 1, then you can further upper bound these three terms by minus z norm squared. Because z, again, by definition, z is the combination of the three signals, three states, okay? And z norm means e squared plus ef squared plus r squared, e squared, ef squared, r squared, okay? And as long as it's greater than 1, it can be upper bounded by this, okay? And you have another two terms, z squared and z power to the 4th. Okay, so that can be further upper bounded by 1 okay. Kn is coming from the control gain K, okay, from page 4, the bottom of page 4, okay? So what does this mean? What does this mean? Is it global condition or is it semi-global condition? Semi-global, right? Right? Z now is the state, right? And for this function to be negative definite, this part has to be positive, right? For this to be positive, you need to make sure the summation of these two is smaller than 1. Okay, and there's two ways. One, you increase Kn so that this summation of these two will become smaller, right? Another one is you fix Kn, you increase Z. Well, Z is the state. You don't know where Z can be, right? What you can do is you make sure that the initial constitution of Z is smaller such that the summation of this is smaller than 1, right? In other words, the conclusion is you need to, given the condition, initial condition, okay, Z 0, you need to select your Kn until it's greater to a point that the whole bracket is positive. Okay, so this is semi-global. The condition, the control condition, the gain condition it depends on the initial condition of Z. Okay, depends on the initial condition of Z, which is the state. Okay, so that's semi-global asymptotic tracking. It's semi-global. Asymptotic tracking, okay, or asymptotic stability. Okay. 有没有问题？ But, hey. because that's how you can create. You want to combine these three terms together, right? You already have E transpose E minus EF transpose EF, okay? And then you have KCM minus C2 over 2 R squared. And to upper bound this by minus Z squared. Z squared is, so this is equal to minus E transpose E minus EF transpose EF plus R transpose R, right? So the coefficient here is minus 1. Coefficient of R squared is minus 1. So the coefficient for R squared have to be 1 or greater than 1, such that you can upper bound it. If it's greater than 1, minus, for example, minus 2 R over 2 can be upper bounded by minus 1 R squared. If this is 2, for example, this is 2, okay? So minus 2R squared and R squared, which one is larger? Minus. This one is larger, right? And we want to do the upper bound, okay? So this one has to be greater than 1, at least, right? And which means you need to select your gain as larger as possible. Okay. In the control system, usually you select the gain as high as possible, not as small as possible. Okay. And here's another very important question. Okay. Remember, if the initial condition, given the initial condition Z is 0, okay, which means given the E0, EF0, R0, given all the initial conditions, why and you can select the control gain Kn, right, large enough to ensure this is positive, okay? So that means that V dot will be negative definite. Negative semi-definite because you have theta here. You have theta here, right? So it's still negative semi-definite, right? But once you select the gain as high as possible, it becomes negative semi-definite, right? And can you ensure that the Z, can you make sure that Z won't increase again? Can you? 会吗？如果你给定一个 initial condition of Z0 and you select the gain large enough, that means that V will not increase, right? V only decrease. Does that mean once V decrease, does that imply Z normal will still increase? If V decrease, right? Because as long as it's negative semi-definite, V will decrease, right? Does Z, and we want to make sure that the initial condition of Z is the largest one compared to along the time history, right? Otherwise, it might, the bracket, the summation of the bracket might not be positive, right? If it increase from the initial condition, the condition might break, right? It might not be positive for all time, right? So you need to, in other words, you need to make sure the initial condition is the largest Z, right? Otherwise, this might no longer be positive. So to make sure Z will decrease from the initial condition, it seems that V, at least not a sufficient condition, but V has to decrease, right? right? But even V decrease, they don't imply Z decrease. So it's kind of chicken and egg problem, right? But if it's negative definite, it's possible. For negative semi-definite, it's hard to say because your V not only contains the Z terms, but also contains another term which you don't know the value at the initial condition, right? 懂吗? Okay. If you don't understand, just let me know because it's very important, okay? Sometimes we review papers and that they assume that the initial condition is the largest one. And that's the misconception. You can reject the paper. You don't need to look into the further details. To be honest, I only use once the P filter in my research. But it's important that if you not the early states is measurable, keep double dot is not measurable. It's a good approach, good candidate tool to use. So it's very practical. It can be used to deal with any practical case. Inertial, we don't know VM, we don't know G, we don't know F. You still can get semi-global asymptotic tracking. And semi-global means that if you know your initial conditions, then you know how to select your gains. Initial condition means the tracking error, right? If your initial condition of the states is far from the desired trajectories, your tracking error will be larger, right? That means you need a higher gain to ensure stability. As I say, there's another approach called the global DCAL. DCAL is global stability. That means that it doesn't require your gain. The gain doesn't depend on the initial condition of your states. The approach is very similar to the semi-global case, except we need to redesign the P filter. Okay, so the objective is the same. We want to do tracking control, and only Q is measurable. Q and the tracking error are measurable. And the system parameter M, all these are unknown. Okay, we use the same property and the same upper and this is new because we redesign the P filter by these parts. Okay, before it was R equal to E dot plus E plus EF. Now we replace E by tangent HE, tan H EF. Okay, because tan HE can be upper bounded by 1. Tan H EF can also upper bounded by 1. H function, I think, is, for example, X. It's like this. Okay, so it's upper bounded by 1. Okay. We just replace these two, E by 10HE and same as for EF. And EF dot is changed to this. Okay. And we put that into the analysis. So in the open loop dynamics, we take the R dots, and by definition, that's E double dot times plus 10H E dots, 10H EF dots, okay? And that's equal to this, okay? The time derivative of these two parts equal to these terms marked in red, okay? So the procedure is pretty similar, okay? And follow the same procedure, okay? We take care of each term one by one. And eventually, in the Liouville function, you redesign your Liouville function by these two replacing these two terms. Okay, and that's PD. Those two are PD functions because for a long function is always this function is always positive, is always okay. So the minimum value of this is 0. Okay, so it's a positive definite function, same as this. You can check if you don't believe. Okay, and you take the time derivative on v, you substitute the causal dynamics, regrouping the terms, and you design the torque by this. Okay, and you select the control gain by this adaptive load, and eventually you will see that this part, the gain, the selection of the gains doesn't depend on your initial conditions, right? Here it just says that you need to select your Kn greater than 1/4, greater than the quarter, then it's fine. Okay, and then the V dot will be semi global, will be negative semi-definite. Okay, so they can achieve global asymptotic tracking. Okay, using Barbara's lemma. I think any of you play baseball, right? Or you know the rule of baseball, right? And usually the 球探坐在旁边, they will use laser gun to detect the speed of the pitcher, right? The ball coming from the pitcher, right? 投手，对吧? They were, so the sensor, you can consider the laser gun as a sensor that detects the speed of the ball, right? The baseball. But can it measure the position given any time step? Can it? No. Right. In that case, the measurable term is velocity, not position. Okay. But in control, if you want to do control, usually you need position error, velocity error, right? Acceleration error not necessary, just position error or velocity error, right? But you know the measurement only knows the velocity measurement, but it doesn't know the position measurement. So can you use the measurable terms to estimate the non-measurable terms? That's required for control. Can you? If you don't, you can use this approach. But this approach is only for Euler Lagrange systems, which is this structure. This structure, okay? And again, the constraint here, we don't know the parameters. We don't know what's the inertia of the robot manipulator. We don't know the viscosity. We don't know the gravity, okay? But you still can attain the global asymptotic tracking, okay, using this approach. And that's how powerful this is, okay? But it takes a lot of designs in the P filters, so it can cancel out the terms. As I said, Q dot is not measurable. So in here, E dot is also not measurable. That's why we need to replace E dot by another terms. Okay, and those terms, for example, R can be canceled out by some other dynamics or be considered as a cross terms. Okay. If you don't replace E dot, there's no hope that the subsequent analysis can cancel this out, right? Or the subsequent analysis it might remain there. You don't have a way to deal with it, okay? And again, another example is so in here, right, you replace E dot P dot by E dot P dot, and eventually you can cancel out 4 terms, and that gives you this form, okay? Okay. See how, so the analysis is related to what the constraint of the dynamics is. The norm of these 2 terms can upper bound by the error signal, the Z norm, which is Z norm, okay? Or Z square norms, which is this and this. And we know that's are better than just E dot, because this can be cancelled out by minus Z terms. That can be cancelled out by this minus Z squared terms. Okay. And remember, all these terms, which are bad terms, is coming from the dynamics or the unknown dynamics. Okay, so we deal with the unknown dynamics by the control, the feedback, or the filters, the design filters. Okay, the analysis it doesn't come from nowhere. Methodology is based on the constraints, okay, by the assumptions of the systems, the properties, the upper bounds. All these properties will be reused in the analysis. All these upper bounds. This skew metric can be used to cancel out the M dot terms, right? Switching property can be used to switching terms such that you can upper bound the terms by z norm or z norm square. And the upper bound of VM terms can create constant terms if Q dot is QD dot. Okay, and if Q dot, here is QD dot, and that means VM term can be upper bounded by a constant. So all these properties have been used again and again in the analysis. So you just need to know which tool you need to use given the dynamics. Okay, that's how you need to learn. You should not just look at the calculation. Okay, when you need to replace E dot by this doesn't make sense. You just need to observe, to think which tool you need to use. Okay, if I told you in the end that I told you that it's semi-global stability, and can you design a global stability controllers? I don't believe you can do that, because if you just do the calculation, there's no way you own the methodology to design a controller, right? Then you don't know how to solve the problems, redesign the controller. That's not research. Okay, research is you need to think. You need to own the materials such that given a new problem, you can know how to deal with it, not just calculation, right? So you need to always ask yourself why, and make sure you know you understand the methodologies. That's pretty different from undergrad students. The next will be artificial neural network, because we use that in the nonlinear control. We use neural network to approximate the unknown nonlinear functions. And that's different from what have been very popular right now, popular topics, the AI. It's different. In the nonlinear control have been exist for almost 10-20 years. That's different from what's popular, recently very popular topics. If you have a link, right, that have been connected by two frictionless joints, the force applied on the link is called two-force member, right? And the force, the external force on this link has to pass the joint, right? And there's no torque can apply on the link, just force. And the force had to pass through the two joints. 还记得吧 ？Why? 对，这是 two force member。我还记得啊，10几年前我大一的时候 ，when I was a freshman in undergrad， 其实它还蛮简单，这概念还蛮简单的嘛，力平衡概念是可以解决的，对不对？都会旋转，torque 就会旋转。那实际上它没有旋转，表示它没有 torque。那没有 torque， 它有受力，力必须通过那个，对不对？力不通过两个 joint， 它就会有旋转，会有 torque 嘛，对不对 ？So by observation is static, right? Static, which means that there's no torque, or the torque is better. The summation of the torque is equal to 0, right? But it's frictionless. The joint is frictionless. So there's no external torque. The only potential torque might come from the two force, right? For example, your force is here. Your force is here. Then you have a distance or mismatch between the two joints that can generate torque. But it's static. There's no external torque, which means that the force, the two force has passed through, has to be in line, called linear, right? So that's the definition of two force member. 不会有 torque， 对不对？所以你把几个观念连起来，你就不会忘记，你就可以记4几年这样。Artificial neural network. So this paper was about almost 20 years ago by Frank Luris. Okay, he's a famous guy, especially in optimal control. And he is famous. I met him in the conference around 2 years ago, and he is the advisor of my advisor's advisor. 就祖师爷就对了，这样。My advisor's advisor. 3 generations. Okay. So he proposed this the neural network, artificial neural network ideas in the control. Okay. So this is the structure. So artificial is not a new topic from today. It has been exists in decades, but recently the AI, because of AI, it become popular again. Okay. So, but the basic functionality of a network is the same. The difference is how many hidden layers, how many neurons you use in your application, okay, and how you do the learning. Okay, so if you know the fundamentals, which I will taught today and maybe next Monday, it will be sufficient for you to know how you operate, how you can use this neural network to approximate a nonlinear functions. Okay. In fact, you cannot approximate linear function. The combination of linear functions only can approximate another linear functions. There is no way that a combination of linear functions can approximate nonlinear functions. Okay. 懂我意思吗？ So for example, if anyone heard about Taylor series, right? What is Taylor series? Right? Okay. And usually and this can be a nonlinear function, f can be a nonlinear function, right? But usually in the analysis, for simplicity, we just say we negate the high order terms, right? We only consider linear terms and some constant terms. So for a small deviation operate around x, right? If you want to approximate a function around some point, you can negate the higher order terms, okay, 对吧? Because given a nonlinear function, okay, it's nonlinear, right? If you want to approximate the function in this point, you can consider it's linear, right? can consider as linear. OK， 对不对 ？That's why we negate the higher order terms because the x is around this point. OK. Although you can use the whole series to approximate the function across the whole domain. So linear functions can only approximate a linear function. And in this case, a linear function is in this compact small area. Okay, in this area. 对吧？是吧？ And for a but if you want to approximate the nonlinear functions, the whole nonlinear function, you can use either series or you can use neural network. Okay. But remember, the takeaway is you cannot use a linear function to approximate a linear function. That doesn't happen. Okay. It can. This is a nonlinear function, so you can approximate it by, if you don't negate the higher order terms, you can approximate nonlinear functions. Okay. If you only keep the high order terms because they are nonlinear. Okay. 能懂吗? So the next question is why we can use neural network to approximate nonlinear functions. So we need to look into the detail of neural networks. Okay. So this artificial neural network have input. Okay. Let's say input x1, x2, x3. For example, if you have a state x1, x2, x3, position, velocity, and acceleration, for example, okay, the input will be 3 dimension, okay, and you have output maybe just again 3 dimension or 1 dimension. It doesn't matter what the dimension is. Okay, u1, u2, or maybe not u, just y for in general. Okay, and you want to use this black box to approximate nonlinear function. The nonlinear function is f(x) equal to y. Okay, x. Okay, y1, y2, x1, 2, 3. Okay, nonlinear function. Okay, so the structure is, we call this layer is called hidden layer, okay, which is inside the neural network. It's called hidden layer. So in this case, we have one hidden layer, okay, hidden layer. And usually we use 2 hidden layers in the nonlinear control. Okay. And in each hidden layer, we call it a neuron. This is a neuron. In Chinese, 神经元. Okay. And a neuron is connected to each input Okay, given each input will send its value into the neurons. Okay, and the reason that you can do nonlinear approximation is the neuron you can consider as a small function that doing nonlinear operation. Okay, because each neuron has a activation function that is x, and sigma s is called activation function. There are many. The activation function can be many type of functions. Can be, this is one of the function you can use. Okay, ex minus x. Okay, or some other functions like I forgot the functions, but this is one type of activation function. There are many types you can select. Okay, but this is one of them. But the requirement is it has to be a nonlinear function. Okay, it has to be a nonlinear function. Okay, so what this neuron do is, or it can be this. Okay, okay, this or this, or etc. As long as it's nonlinear. Okay. So what this neuron do is it takes the input x. Okay. Which could be x1, x2, x3. Okay. And generate a function. Generate a single function. Maps from Rn to R. Okay, n is the dimension of x, and in this case it's R3. Okay, it's R3. The input dimension is 3, output is 1. Okay, and the output will also connect it to every neurons. Okay. So you can consider that the 3 input coming to here is a combination. Okay, and in each link there will be a weighting W1, W2, W11, W12, W13. Okay. So the input x1 times W1 1 plus x2 times W12 plus W3 x13 will be the input to these neurons. The linear combination of x and the weightings will become the input to the neurons. And that generate an output to the next hidden layers. They also come with W2, 1, another W. So maybe we call it, so we use V, we use W here. Okay, 这样懂吗？ So here we are doing linear combination. Here we are doing nonlinear operations. Okay. So the output of this is a combination. So that's why we can use this to do nonlinear approximation. You cannot use a combination of linear functions to approximate nonlinear function. So you need to do some nonlinear operations. That's happen in the neurons. 你懂吗？懂吗？ Okay. And in each neuron, there is an offset theta. Here we call it theta Vj. Okay, theta Vj. So you can consider this neuron has 4 inputs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is an offset, which is a constant. Okay. 好吗？就是一个偏差量而已，让它 offset from 0. So eventually, you can write down the whole function. This is the output from the neural network. Why? Look at the output here. Input is x. So input times the weightings, which is the weight on the link. Okay, that's the linear combination, right? All this is a linear combination plus the offset. Okay, all this is the input to the activation function. Okay, so the output of this activation function will be nonlinear. Okay, and you take the output of this function to do the linear combination with W2, which is the weighting on the second layer. Okay, and do the nonlinear approximation. Here we only have one hidden layer. Okay, sorry, just one hidden layer. Okay. Okay, so you can formulate this neural network as that. Okay, this is a black box. So all this weighting V and W V and W are the unknown constants that you need to update, similar to the adaptive control. You need to update the theta hat, right? Theta hat is the unknown is used to approximate the unknown constant, right? Here, V and W are like the theta hat we use to approximate the true value of V and W, right? Once you can approximate the true value of V and W, you can almost approximate the nonlinear function. Activation function 是 nonlinear， 是这个。W 就是 linear combination， 就是乘一个 weight， 然后做 linear combination， 它出来就是 nonlinear 啦。linear 我再把 nonlinear 的东西 combine 在一起做 output，so it's still nonlinear, right? Combination of nonlinear function is still nonlinear. So you can, so in general the black box is nonlinear. OK， 对吧？ OK。 所以那个怎么出来，你就这样做嘛。The input to this neuron is what? Theta Vi. 下一次我再用数字取代好了，就是这些数字都给你们，最后把它 narrow down 到那一个。这边只是讲架构而已。We haven't touch how we can use neural network to do control. Okay, we just introduce the neural network and its functionalities, which is you can use it to approximate nonlinear functions. 这边啊，就1、2吧。所以我就知道你们这边有搞混，我应该给你们数字。So for example, the input to this neuron is x1 times v1 1 plus x2 times v1 2 西塔是什么？看一下西塔1 OK 对吧 ？This 这样对吧 ？OK This is the input and that's the input to the neuron, and what the neuron do is it tell the input to generate output x 你们果然比较喜欢数字，对不对？ So you took that will be you substitute this into here minus all this guy, okay? They will give you output, right? The output is this, okay? And the output will be will come to the input after they multiply by the weightings. Okay, that's why you see W is beside the sigma. Okay, Ij in here I is 1 sigma. Okay, all this guy here. That goes to the output y, okay? y1. y1, and y1 is a collection of outputs from different neurons, 对不对? So let plus, this is from another neuron, so we should label this by whatever. 这边没有 label, 那我就先不 label. This is from first neuron. First neuron 应该要 1, 2, Wij W1 layers I J. Okay, so this is W1 2 plus W1 3 1 3 1 2 3 W1, and depend on how many neurons you have. Okay, depend on how many n. Okay, n minus 1 n. 这样懂吗? So if you look at compare this to this, it's the same. Okay, 能懂吗? And next, 这边吗？1、2。对啊，那这边我就写错了，应该是2、1。OK， 我承认我刚是随便乱标了，这要对起来。2、1，这是1、2，1、2 W 1、2、2、2。这样 OK， 好，那就是这样。So if you have two inputs, then you will have Y2 here and follow the same procedure, change W21, W22, W23, okay? So eventually, we can write down this into a simpler form, which is this. Okay, this equation 4 is equal to equation 1. And remember that this is the neural network, right? Artificial neural network. It can approximate a nonlinear function f. Okay? It can be used to approximate a nonlinear function f with a small approximation error. Okay, it always exists, which means that you cannot 100% use neural network to approximate a nonlinear function. You can only guarantee that the approximation will be close and close, but never be the same. That's a very important assumption. So epsilon is called, this is called the approximation error. Okay, it always exists.